Good morning, zookeepers, and welcome back to Mesa Zoo. And today we're going to be making a mixed lemur island enclosure. Now, I love mixed lemur enclosures as it is. It's just dead interesting to see all like different species mingle. And as well, I like island enclosures. I always feel like they are great, especially for like primates and various other creatures of similar position. And it just makes like a nice looking enclosure. I made this little sort of, I don't know what I'd call this really, tin house. But yeah, I made this little tin house for them to live in. This is where they're going to go to sleep as well. It's going to be the where I'm going to make a bridge. I could have done a climbing frame, but I decided to go for a bridge because I also want keepers to get onto the island as well. As they need to like do all the cleaning and things like that, giving them food, and I made the bridge nice and simple and sort of it just gives that sort of island kind of vibe, especially with it being logs. So I thought it'd be quite an interesting look. It's nice, simple, easy for me to build, and just sort of fits in with the rest of that island kind of vibe. I realised that the trench wasn't deep enough, so I just went round so I could add water and then sort of get on with the island. On the inside, my idea is behind it is I was going to do a keeper zone. I just never really sort of got round to it. Just kind of forgot about it really. I was more focused on my little island and things like this. But yeah, on the inside, what I'm going to do is like a lot of like primate little windows and things like this tend to have like a bench in front of them where keepers tend to scatter a lot of the food so that they come up to the window and you can see them a lot better. Obviously we can't do that with the food trays in this, but I did put food enrichment on one of the benches that'll let me, and they tend to just use them anyways because when they end up being added to the enclosure, they're in there a fair bit, just sort of like chilling on the benches and looking out the window. Now, a little bit of chaos did happen. I don't know what the word is I was trying to use there. A little chaos did happen when I did this section right here. So I made this little fence area so they can't just go onto the normal land, and it just makes them so they have to go over the bridge onto the island. I also make fake like electric wiring on the sides. Now my main issue is I kind of forgot to turn off the climbing ability. So as soon as I put the lemurs in, I was like, why are all my lemurs out of their enclosure? And it is because, yeah, I forgot to turn off the climbing ability. They just climbed over it and just sort of ran off. I don't think I recorded that bit. I can't really remember. We'll see a little bit later if I did or not. If not, that is what happened. So yeah, I had to go around turning off the ability to climb on all of these items, which yeah, now everything's sort of hunky-dory as it were. Everyone sort of stays on their island and in the house. But yeah, I thought it was just like a nice little looking feature adding this sort of cabling, so it actually kind of does look like electric wire to deter anyone from climbing up, even though it really didn't deter anything. But it does have that look to it, adds a little bit of storytelling to it. Added just a few simple lights. Now I haven't added anything in between any of the enclosures that I've made on here yet. There is plans to do so, and as well all the kind of electrical buildings and things like this I plan to put underground in the future. I just kind of want to get the flow of the park right and its looks and things like that I can deal with afterwards once I've done all my enclosures, and as well the infrastructure I can hide underneath the Mesa, because the way the Mesa is built is I did a massive circle all the way around the outside, and then what I did was just did the soil all the way over the top, so there is a massive open space underneath the actual Mesa, and that's where I plan to put any electricals and things like this, probably staff paths as well, so they sort of like just reappear and disappear into certain tunnels. I feel like it would just look nice and add something kind of interesting to this island. Now, as you can see, I may have accidentally forgot to hit record again when I was adding things to the island, like the climbing frames and sort of connecting them all together, as well as the majority of the plants. I can't really remember what happened. I think I got a phone call and I got distracted and then just got sort of straight back to building without clicking the record. So I did miss a little bit, but literally if you watch my mandrill video, which is also came out this week on Thursday, you'll know how I did the climbing frames. It's pre-built ones, and then I sort of put them together, add connectors to them so they look like they're all conjoined into one, and it just adds for an interesting look. I mean, I could make my own, but I feel like I really do enjoy the pre-built ones already. I feel like they look better than what I can probably come out in my head. I've only made one myself decently, and then all the others I've gone and looked at, I didn't quite like that, so I've just gone and used pre-made ones and sort of connected them and made like a jungle run, as it were. But yeah, this enclosure, it's just nice, it's simple. Again, it's just one of those things like I want to do where I just put down the foundations to a point of the enclosure so it looks like an enclosure, and then I can come back to it, I can upgrade it, make it look better, add more foliage, more rocks, and sort of give it a overall complete sort of look. Obviously, again, that's with the decorating and going all the way around and things like this. But other than that, I'm really happy with the way this enclosure looks, and I just love watching the lemurs. Like, the lemurs are so cute. And well, I used to live near Blackpool Zoo. When I mean near, it was near enough behind me, just a hospital in the way. And I always knew when the lemurs were about to get their food, because you could really hear them that far, especially if the wind was blowing in the right direction. So it was almost a bit like an alarm clock to say, oh yeah, I should probably get going now. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this enclosure, and I hope you guys like it too. Is there anything that you would change to this enclosure? Anything you would like to add? Let me know in the comments. I always go through my comments, and I do find like suggestions and things like this really helpful and interesting. It's just like a nice insight to see what other people would do to this enclosure. Again, I made it nice and simple because I can always come back to it, and never know, I might even use your suggestions in this when I come in to improve it, or maybe implement it onto a different build idea and that kind of thing. But anyways, I hope you've enjoyed and it's given you some inspiration with your builds. Until next time, I'll see you later.